I don't need a war. To me it's what we do when we're bored. I feel the heat coming off of the blacktop, and it makes me want it more. Because I'm hyped up out of control. If it's a fight, I'm ready to go. I wouldn't put my money on the other guy. If you know what I know that I know. It's been a long time coming.
Hi, this is James from Vamp, the Lost Soul. Got my inks today, and which was quite surprisingly early because I was going to bash out more Photoshop pages today, so I decided to draw a few more pages instead. I'm just going to Expo this weekend. I probably won't have as much pages done as my normal quota, but I'm going to try and hit that quota. If I can't, then obviously you'll know why. Yeah, so I was drawing today, looking up videos of characters' origins, like from comics, mangas, whatever, and I came across this video. It's called History of Death Part 2 plus Giveaway. That's the actual title of the video. And it's by a person who does reviews games and, you know, does histories of characters. And the channel's called It's Super Effective, like I said previously. Yeah, I was just watching this video and I was completely mind blown because the one problem that I was having, even though I've got the whole story in my head, and I wanted to convey that even though, like, things could go on and that, you know, you can't give up on yourself or anything no matter what. And I've watched this video with really big interest. So this is kind of like my reply video. This is actually going to go up on YouTube, and I'm going to post it on the comments, and hopefully, if this person is kind enough to have a look at this video and reply or give me a private message over it, that would be fantastic, because thanks to this person, the way it talked about this comic, because I really want to read this comic now, because this seems really, really good. And I want to see it for myself so I can see if I get any more inspiration from it already than I'm already am. And, you know, it's like about like never giving up on yourself, and you know, even though when things are dark, there's always hope. I know it sounds really cheesy, but the way It's Super Effective explains it, it's more of a state of mind. And it really blew my mind because lately I've been feeling really down. I've been bumbled on a lot of things, and lately I've been a lot of hate and anger, and I was getting really angry in my inside. And when I watched this video, it kind of mind-blown me in such a way. Like, I said, wow, shit, I'd never actually thought of it like that, and no one's ever put anything that way to me before. And it's kind of, it's the one thing that really hit me hardest was you only have one shot at life. So you have to make it count. You've got to make a mark on the world. And I sat there, I'm like, well, that can't be just applied to generally life and death. It's more... It can be applied, like, if you are going through something a little bit shitty or to something major, that, yeah, it's, I can't explain it. It is totally mind-blowing when you put that thought into everything else. And it makes you realise that if you don't exactly make your life in your own life and that, you're going to be dying regretting, then I would rather die knowing that I've did everything I can and, you know, I led a full life than a life where I'm going to look back and think, well, if I only did this and that, because we all make mistakes at the end of the day, and we're all only human. And the thing is, all sentient beings, because Vamp the Lost Soul, a lot of them have already consciousness of their own. And it was the message I was really trying to convey, but I didn't know how to put it. And the way this explained it has really gave me a lot of ideas of how to put that forward. Like the messages that I want to convey, because the thing is, as you may have noticed, even on the sneak peek, like, these characters may look alright, but they have, deep down inside, they have issues. Like, the character, for example, has dyslexia, and as you see towards the end of the sneak peek, his real parents got killed. And it's going to affect him mentally. He's not going to be one of those characters that's going to be able to get over it. Like, even if he was acting on somewhat normal a few weeks later, it's going to scar him for life. That scar is going to be always there. It's always going to haunt him, no matter what. It's going to prop up every now and again, even if you do learn his lessons. And also, I wanted to convey you have learnt a lesson, or you know the lesson but you haven't learnt it yet. Now, a lot of people do not get what I mean by this. And the thing is, in the story, it's going to convey that even though the character may know the lesson, or may think he learnt it, he's going to make, like, stupid amount of mistakes until he will actually learn it. Sometimes it might be too late, or sometimes he might apply that effectively. Now, this doesn't just apply to the main character, Nikaya. This is going to apply to every character, this rule. And it's going to show it doesn't matter even how powerful you become or how strong you are. It's not like a despair thing. It's just like there is always going to be something in your way. But the thing is it's the only thing is I'm trying to teach a lesson is how you utilize that these events that do happen to you, and it does run correspond with the real world, because there's a scene I'm probably going to be doing on maybe the beginning of the second, but I'm not too sure yet, that would talk about this year's elections, and the adults, not the teenagers, of course, because they're not gonna they're gonna worry about what teenagers are gonna worry about. Nikaya's probably gonna be more worried about getting his head around his parents dead and stuff like that. So it's just it's just gonna be one of those things. It's gonna be a very long trail, and if people are gonna expect Nikaya to, like any other manga character, get up straight away from it, yeah, I might do a few time skips where he's a little bit more better, but there's going to be scars showing, and I'm not going to give any spoilers of how these scars are going to show. These characters may look normal, but they are far from perfect, if you get what I mean, to a normal manga character. They have got a lot of stuff to learn. They're very young, and in a way they're very immature in that sense. And then you've got other characters guiding them, like, yeah, some of them are really wise, some of them are still learning, so they're going to still make mistakes somewhat. So, this is a world of, like, very much like this world, many different colours and that. And I'm trying to teach a lesson, even though there are things you cannot change, right? It's the truth. You can't, change how things go. It's like Kung Fu Panda. It's like, a lot of people think it's a great movie for the sake of it, but it has a real hidden meaning to it. Like, the conversation between the turtle and, I forgot what Poe's teacher's called. He's saying, I can control where I can plant it and that and stuff like that. It's like, yes, you can, but it's still going to be this tree and stuff like that. And it really conveyed that message well, I think. And I think a lot of people, that message just went right through over their heads. And even though there are some things you seem like you can't change, there is ways to change it. And I think we live in a world now where we're mixing up things that we can't change and what we can change. I'm going to give you a pure example of what I mean. And I'm sorry I'm writing on about this, because this is very essential to my plot line. And I think, this person deserves to know how it's inspired me. Like, in a way, right? You can't change if a house gets blown down. A house is going to get blown down. All you can do is rebuild it. Yes, it's going to be frustrating. Yes, you're going to be upset. I'm not telling you not to be upset. Of course you're going to be upset. It's natural, But the way you go around it is what's more important. So stuff you can't control, you got to have that attitude towards. Now, politics, people say, that's the way they are. The rich will always be the rich, poor will always be the poor, and the Caesar complex will always continue and destroy, itself within itself, and then the new empire will start. It's like, yeah, I know this because history's repeating itself because we choose to make those mistakes. Now, that is the vital difference. Now, that is something we can control. And over time, in my story, even though it might get a little, it wouldn't really mix in politics, but it gets here and there when the storyline needs to get into that sort of thing. But what I'm trying to say is, you got to have that drive if you want change, and if you want it like in a certain way before it gets all blown up and too late, and anarchy and stuff will kick off. Like, I'm not even just talking about politics. I'm talking about things in life, like people who are being jerks and stuff like that. We hold back and we go like that. Instead we go, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I know people say, it'd be teachers, lecturers and nagging us. Well, really, no, teaching and nagging us is when they expect you to be the perfect human being, and you're just nagging for over things like table manners. But there are some things that I've noticed people do really wrong, and they're not being fucking called up for it. Like people who don't take responsibility for their own actions, and it does cause a lot of bad things to happen. There are things like, it takes a real big effect on everybody. It's like throwing a big, huge fucking stone and causing a tidal wave, basically. So, and then and then people have a go at people over really little things that sometimes you're just gonna have to accept that person what they are for. And a lot of friends have tried to teach me that lesson and that, and I have tried hard to learn it. And I have to admit, sometimes I do get bitchy about little things, but the ones I get bitchy about is actually mostly bigger things. People don't realise, what this person's doing is wrong, and, blah, blah, blah. We all think we're right at the end of the day, but there are some things you have to draw the line at. And I think that line's really blurred these days, and you need to, draw that line, and it, stuff like that. It's like stuff we can and can't do about, okay, we can't do anything about the politicians, but we can see where we can make the tree into another tree. No, that's not right. That's a bit stupid. What this book's trying to tell you is you can change the way politics work if you try hard enough, work hard enough, and not give up on yourself in despair and cause riots. And then you got the other hand, apple tree's going to be still by apple tree. If a house is going to get smashed by a tree, it's going to happen. There's no ifs or buts about it. You can't change that. You can put up defences, but that's about it. So, so at the end of the day, thank you, Super Effective, for opening that eye, and I will try and get that comic into my hands and read it. Anyways, I think I've rambled enough now, and you guys have a nice evening. This is James with Vamp, the Lost Soul, out.